Major funding for these broadcasts has been provided by grants from New York Community Bank, Capital One Bank, Eastern Consolidated, M&T Bank, Sterling National Bank, Terra CRG, Meridian Capital Group, the Witkoff Organization, Ariel Property Advisors, Chase Commercial Term Lending, Chase Mortgage Lending, Perfect Building Maintenance, Genova Burns. Additional funding has been provided by AKA Hotels Corming Communities, AmTrust Title Insurance Company, AVR Realty Company, Bank of America Merrill Lynch, Bank Leumi USA, Briarwood Organization, CBRE, Citizens Bank, Colliers International NYC, Collins Building Services, Connect One Bank, CPEX Real Estate Services, Dime Community Bank, Douglaston Development, Levine Builders, Flushing Bank, Friedman LLP, Handro Properties Handler Real Estate Organization, Hersha Hospitality, Hodges Ward Elliott, Inc., iFunding, Investors Bank, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Center at Syracuse University, Kilroy Architectural Windows, Madison Realty Capital, Matone Group, Mercantile Commerce Bank, New Banks, Newmark Grubb Knight Frank, Optimum Window Manufacturing Corp., People's United Bank, Polsinelli, Rosewood Realty Services, SJP Properties, Stonehenge Partners, TD Bank, the Knackle Group at Cushman & Wakefield, the Continuum Company, the Moynihan Group, and These Friends.
Miami Beach, Squirrel Hill, Pittsburgh? Nah, I'm going to get a job in Great Gorge. Nah, forget Great Gorge. Maybe the Poconos. Nah, I'm going to get a job at TWA. State College, Pennsylvania? Oh, I'm going to go to Philadelphia, Westinghouse, being an electrical and mechanical engineer. Oh, I'm going to come to New York. Then I'm going to get involved with the community, and I'm really going to get involved. Big Apple Circus, kids of NYU. Oh, and then you know what? Life has its tragedies, but you know what? Fortunately, my life has changed. Found a donor, gift of life. I have Wendy Siegel today. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about grandparents. Tell me about them, where they came from.
So my father's parents came from Manchester, England, and his mother came from Odessa, I'm going to call it because it gets very vague in that Russia area. And my mother's parents came from also Odessa, my grandfather,
so how'd they,
Latvia.
How'd they come to arrive in America? Why'd they come to America?
Well, my mother's parents both ended up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My grandmother was born in Russia, her parents from Russia. And my father's parents ended up in New York City, where my father was born.
Right, in the Bronx. He was born in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Dad was New Yorker, okay? Mom was from Pittsburgh. How'd they end up in Miami?
Both my parents went to college at University of Miami. They met there. They went to school there, got pinned, engaged, and started having babies.
Okay, and now you told me Dad was a scientist, right?
He was very specialized. He was involved with Skylab, the space program. He was a specialist in breeder reactors. He had projects all around the world that he would be brought in. He was a consultant for 3 Mile Island. He had a lot of very specific
And Mom was
work.
Also a very interesting woman.
Very.
Couple degrees, couple books, right?
She had a doctorate. She wrote some children's books. She was an amazing mother. I have to start with that. Very hands-on, even with a full-time job. And she started school, and then she was also a professor at University in Pittsburgh.
So now we're back to Squirrel Hill, okay, in Pittsburgh. You're the second of the 5, right?
Yes.
So tell me about growing up in Pittsburgh. What was it like growing up in
It was great. I mean, I think when you're born into a house full of kids, when you
especially
grow up,
4 girls and 1 boy.
right. Always thought my brother was actually an awesome guy at the end of the day for putting up with all of us. But we had a great time. We were very close, and we made a lot of noise. We got in a lot of trouble. And I remember getting lots of timeouts for things we did, naughty things, but had a lot of fun.
How did you decide to go to Penn State?
I got a scholarship to go there, so that was very enticing. And it was a great school at the time. They had a very strong science engineering program.
How do you get involved with science and engineering? I know later on when you went to Drexel and you got the degrees, but how do you decide to get involved with engineering?
I'm not sure I really sought that from the beginning. I was very fascinated with weather. I still am. Some people say I'm obsessed with weather. That will come in handy with the whole global warming situation. But I studied meteorology, and my father had been a meteorologist in the Navy. And it was something I used to share with my dad a lot. I didn't end up pursuing that as a career, but I was very fascinated. I studied a lot of science while I was at Penn State, and then I ended up following into engineering.
You told me that during your junior year, you were supposed to get a job in Great Gorge. What were you supposed to be doing?
You're a troublemaker.
I know I'm a troublemaker.
I said you always tried to find summer jobs with friends if you could. And a group of my girlfriends decided the summer during school, we would try to get jobs together. Somebody had found out that the Great Gorge Playboy Club had just opened, and they were really looking for people to work there. I thought maybe we'd get housekeeping jobs or whatever. We got there, and they offered my girlfriends and I to be bunny servers. And I thought that sounded like an amazing job. They probably wouldn't have taken me in any other existing location, but we decided that would be a fun thing. And my dad was very unhappy about it. He didn't like it at all. So I told my girlfriends that I was not going to stay and do that, and shuttled up to New York with 2 others.
But before you shuttled up to New York, we have to tell the whole story. You went to the Poconos?
So I tried to get a job in the area so I could stay with my friends. You're right. And I got a job at one of the big resorts there as a cocktail waitress. I thought that seemed like a fun thing to do. And I took my first job. My first assignment was to carry a Manhattan over to a table and serve that. That seemed easy enough. And in that big wide mouth glass, I carried the drink over. I was so nervous. I ended up spilling all of the drink, some on the tray and some on the gentleman I was serving. He turned out to be the owner of the resort, and he said to me, "Is this your first time?" And I said, "It is. I'm very nervous, and please don't tell anybody. I'm not even really old enough to be a cocktail waitress." He looked at me and said, "I'm the owner. You'll have to leave right now." So I got fired from my first waitress job from my first drink.
But then you come up to New York and you end up in Howard Beach, okay? And in Howard Beach, you get a job with what, TWA?
Well, I got the job at TWA, so I ended up in Howard Beach.
Right, but the Howard TWA had the special terminal, which
Yes.
they're making. And what did you do for TWA?
So at that time, it was a very hot place. I mean, it was really considered more like a club back then, and celebrities in and out all day long, entertainers, athletes, politicians, you name it.
So what, you were
I was
working
doing
for
public relations there for TWA.
Were you at the
and,
Ambassadors Club or?
in the club, really greeting people, kind of really just PR and goodwill, but very fun. It was a great summer.
So then you go back to State College, okay?
Right.
You go to State College, you graduate, and then how do you get a job with Westinghouse?
So I was interviewing with quite a number of people. I have to say it was a time they were really looking for women everywhere. And with any technical background whatsoever, you were really a sought-after candidate. I had some very, very nice job offers, but Westinghouse seemed the most appealing. They had an incredible training program.
But you don't stay in Pittsburgh. You go to Westinghouse in Philadelphia.
I traveled in the training program around where you take numerous assignments, learning, design and build, consulting, engineering projects, sales engineering, field engineering. And I worked in 2 manufacturing plants, and then you settle somewhere after you've had that opportunity to try all of the different areas. and I ended up in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And at Philly, you take the advanced courses at Drexel.
Exactly.
In electrical.
For mechanical engineering at that point.
Mechanical engineering. So then there's an opportunity, tell me about an opportunity with a company who's based in California, right?
Yes, yes.
So
After several years with Westinghouse, I had met somebody on a job, and actually a lovely but rather chauvinistic man who told me I could never fit into his company, but I was very intrigued by it. They were making customized instrumentation systems and working all over the world doing it at a time when energy management systems were, very hot, and it was really the wave. And I got an interview for myself out in California, so I begged him to meet me at O'Hara, where he lived in Chicago, and to give me 3 hours, was as much layover time as I had, prep me and help me get this job, and he did. I flew out, and they made me Northeast Regional Manager for the company.
And where was that physically located? Where were you?
So they let me remain in Philadelphia to do that.
But then later on, you moved to California.
They moved me out there, gave me a very large promotion, and told me I was going to work the international division if I chose to. And I was single, young, and thought it would be an amazing opportunity. So I went and I took the job, and I started working all over Southeast Asia, Australia, and South America was my territory. I was representing, teaching our systems and how they work, demonstrating them. We had a whole little dog and pony show that we would demonstrate how to use our equipment. I taught that. My partner was chief financial officer. So we would go around and we would set up licensing agreements for people to use our systems to be our partner. And we would design exclusively for them, for their distribution in their country. And it was a very successful venture.
So we fast forward. What's the next career?
And I came back to New York working for a company called Endless Holdings, which was a bit of a conglomerate as well. They had several different divisions, and I would remain pretty much doing the same work but handling national accounts in New York for this company.
So, and one of the national accounts was this company called Prudential?
Prudential Insurance, yes.
Prudential Insurance, and you want to be able to sell Prudential, but you had to deal through their agent who was running their office.
So they had hired the company Cushman & Wakefield, who's the largest commercial real estate at the time, and they were using their project consultants, were awarded the work to assign who would get the engineering work. And so a friend had suggested that if he introduced me to the CEO of the company, that he could introduce me to his people.
Yeah, but the CEO is a young 37-year-old arrogant guy,
Didn't know that, didn't know that.
So tell me about that meeting with the...
So I flew out exclusively for the purpose of meeting this gentleman, Stephen Segal. We had our meeting, and he really was not a technical guy, but I knew that if he liked what I had to say, he could introduce me to the right people. I waited outside his office for about an hour and 40 minutes because he was delayed coming in on a flight. His secretary offered to read book, and I said, no, I came for the sole purpose of meeting this gentleman. Could I please wait? So about an hour and 40 minutes later, he disputes that time, but it was an hour and 40 minutes on any time zone. I waited, and the secretary came over and said to me, you can come in now, Mr. Siegel's here. I walked to the doorway. He took one look at me up and down. I took one look at him, and he said, you're the engineer? And I said, you're the president? He expected, I guess, a man. I expected someone looking significantly older with gray hair, and neither one got what they expected, so.
Yeah, but subsequently it ballooned, right? And you and Stephen get married when?
We've been married over 30 years.
Right, so, and then you have 2 children, right?
2 children. Steve has 2 older boys and our 2 children.
And you've been involved, very involved with the community. You were involved with Horace Mann, where the kids went to school.
Yes, I was a trustee there for 6 years.
Right, and the Big Apple Circus.
Yes, I was president of that board for 10 years, but was involved for a very long time.
And then in addition to that, we were talking about kids of NYU.
So at that time, my kids had both been born into at NYU Medical Center, and a wonderful place. And I was approached by a friend and some doctors, and I said, you know, the fact that I had experienced strictly well medicine, I thought was an incredible reason to get involved with an organization to work with children who did not have that kind of experience. And we represented all pediatric subspecialties at the medical institution and provided programming and grants for them. And eventually, we started raising some very, very serious money in the millions. And this past year, we celebrated our 25th year. I was so happy to be part of it. And it's a thriving organization that's just a wonderful organization.
And another organization that you and Steve have been involved with is National Jewish Health.
Yes, for
out of
many
Denver,
years. Mm-hmm.
where you've been always running the dinners or taking
This'll
care of
be-
every aspect of the dinner.
This December will be my 22nd year.
So it's December of 2011, right? And you and Steve take a trip with your synagogue, Central Synagogue, to Cuba.
Yes.
And you come back in January, and what happens?
So a few weeks after I got back in December, just kind of before, actually I had a birthday, December 21st. I was feeling absolutely fine. Right after my birthday, I started feeling very sick. Seemed a little bit abnormal for anything I'd ever experienced. And right around New Year's, I knew something wasn't right. We were down in Florida, and I told Steve I needed to go home. We went home. Everybody immediately thought probably something I'd picked up on the trip. I was originally diagnosed with dengue fever. I have a little expression I say now, be careful what you don't wish for. Dengue fever sounds pretty glamorous right about now. And I ended up being diagnosed with leukemia.
And that was in January of 2012.
Yes, January 13th, 2012.
But you told me when you were diagnosed, I think you were with your family?
No, I wasn't. I was absolutely alone in the room when I found out.
Okay, but after that,
My whole family happened to have been in Philadelphia to celebrate one of my sister's birthdays. And everybody had come for it from all over the country. We're spread out all over the country. And I found out the daunting news. Steve wasn't even in the room with me at the moment. And I told him, and then I called one of my sisters because I figured that everybody was just an hour and 10 minutes away from me. It'd be important that they could all try to get together. So Sunday after my sister's birthday, I waited. I did not tell one person. I felt it was very critical to leave everything in the happy zone. My eldest sister called the meeting Sunday morning and told my family the rough news, and everybody caravanned right up here to New York.
Now, for a person who had been working all these years as a volunteer in the other aspect, now the shoe is on the other foot. And the condition is told to you that it's a very acute form of leukemia.
It's considered the worst of the leukemias because of the degree of aggressiveness. The number of people that could survive this form of leukemia without a bone marrow transplant is minuscule. And it's even considered, I've been told by numerous doctors, probably the second worst cancer, even including tumors, just because of the degree of aggressiveness of it, maybe second to pancreatic.
So let's talk about the matching and a little bit about the gift of life and the testing, which is very important, which subsequently helped you take the marrow.
Yes.
How do you get involved with that?
Well, the first thing they do when you're diagnosed with this is they test anybody of your family, preferably siblings, who would have the best possibility of being a match for you. And of my 4 siblings, we did learn that each one of them had a perfect match in one of the other, and I did not even have a close match to either. If I had been even a half match to one of them, I could have had that half match in an umbilical cord. They can combine that. Didn't even have that opportunity. So immediately, the international registry starts searching for a possible match for you, match based on DNA and matching your DNA to other people. And then as many that even seem like a possibility are brought to your doctor and they make a decision. Unfortunately, they had hoped to have a little bit more time. There was no really good match present. Nothing seemed to be of a really good choice in the minds of the doctors who were going to be giving me my transplant. And we just had tried to take some alternative chemotherapies and treatments to hold me back to get me some time. Unfortunately, they weren't working either. So after 1 month, one did not work. The second month failed. And they said, we're going to have to try to go to a transplant with the absolute best possibility that we would have. Didn't sound very promising, but it was my hope. So
prior to the transplant, you were being treated at Mount Sinai.
Yes.
How do you decide to go to Dana-Farber?
So that's a very interesting question that represented lots of hours, but a very short reason is when I first went into Mount Sinai, thought I had dengue fever, which they don't really even hospitalize you for. I needed IV fluids, and so it seemed appropriate. I just would go to a great New York hospital and be treated. While I was there, and they had found out that I had leukemia, it became very clear that I would have to start looking immediately. They would look immediately to find a donor match. But you have to declare where you're going to have your transplant. It's a very key part. It's the initial step of the process, because only the institution where you have it can call for the transplant. They decide which match you'll get. It's a very subjective process. Even if you happen to have several choices of perfect matches, unless you know you're having a sibling, it becomes a choice by the doctor. So it's still very subjective. And I did not have anything close to that good match. So it would become up to the doctor what match they would choose. So I had to make a decision very quickly where I would go. And that, I said to date, was to date the most difficult decision I've ever had to make.
Now, during this period of time, you and Steve were very active in having people swabbed to get into the registries around, correct?
When I got diagnosed in January, I knew at some point I would need to have a transplant. But prior to even thinking about the transplant, I was receiving transfusions and platelets very often, just as a means of survival. And one day I just was looking up getting a transplant, and it just really overwhelmed me. And I called my husband and I said, do you realize that my life is actually being kept alive right now by every pint of blood that goes in me and every bag of platelets? And how do they keep those up? I said, we have a very serious responsibility right now. And I called Steve and said, I want to do a drive right now. I want to get as much blood and platelets as we can to replace what I'm using and what other people won't think about, doing. So he called me and he said, all right, I've got a date in 3 months. And I said, what? I said, you're one of the most impacting men in real estate. That's the best you could do. And I really tormented him. He called me back and he said, next week we have a date. We held a drive the following week, which of course I did not attend. I was in the hospital. But we got hundreds of pints of blood and numerous, several hundred swabs. And ordinarily, the blood bank does not do both of those drives together. But Steve told them that we will really help fill your blood bank. Do it.
Let's talk about the picture, the day of the journey. What happens?
So I had decided on Dana-Farber. And just to answer your question of why I went there, I did a lot of research, and I tried to really base it on the exact condition of leukemia that I had. There was tons of research going on there, and they were doing a tremendous amount of transplants, more than anywhere in New York. And I thought, because I had 2 very strange mutations, I thought there'd be a better chance they might have seen something like that. So I made the decision to go to Boston with full support of my family. When we finally decided when we had to get there, of course it was the week of the bombing. The bombing had occurred on Monday in Boston. That was the day I was to arrive. And our doctor said, wait a couple of days. It's a terrible day to get here. We waited till Thursday. We went up on Thursday, and Thursday, ironically, was the day that the city went on lockdown for the 2 bombers. And turned out probably to be just a worse day to arrive than Monday would have been, but unfortunately for that tragedy. But we got into the hospital and we got going.
And you had the sac, right, with the cells? The blessing?
Well, that doesn't come right away. You go through, yes, we did eventually. You
Right.
go through a lot of very, very intense chemo.
Right, but I'm talking about that day.
Yeah, okay, so when the day
Rabbi
came.
Rubenstein, you had
Rabbi
Steve?
Rubenstein came up from New York. He came up to bless my cells, which apparently is a very real thing. Everybody seems to do that in some way or another. And, my family was there, my immediate family. They don't let that many people in the room. Rabbi Rubenstein came not only to bless the cells with us, but to do a new naming. I took a new Hebrew name on that day. And I took the name Journey, Nisia, and we had the cells, and that was the beginning of my new life.
Let's fast forward to this past June. What happens? You have the opportunity to meet the person.
I did. It was a tricky thing. You're not allowed to meet your donor for at least a year, and in some registries it's even 2 years. And the way it works is that if both the donor and the recipient choose to meet, they'll arrange it, and you'll have an opportunity to meet somewhere, somehow. It turned out my donor was from New York, which I did not know, and you only get to know 2 things about them: the gender of the person and how old they are at the time that they gave their cells. So I knew it was a 35-year-old male. That is all I knew. And I was supposed to meet him earlier, but I had gotten very sick again. I came out of remission, And they, I guess, just didn't seem it was a very appropriate time, so I did not get to meet him at that point. And a year later, we were approached by Gift of Life, the registry where my bone marrow came from. Would you be willing to meet your donor? I said I would love to meet my donor. I would consider it one of the most important opportunities. I didn't know at the time he was a very religious gentleman.
Satmar Joe from Brooklyn.
Exactly. And he was not very keen about being thanked for it. And I tried to, for all the lovely reasons. And I said I won't thank him. I would just like to know him. But then Gift of Life decided it might be an incredible opportunity for everybody to experience. They do this. It's called their Partners for Life, where they have a donor recipient, sometimes 2 or 3 pairs meet. They decided to honor me that year, which I kind of resisted. The idea, just because Steve and I have been working just endlessly on doing drives and clearing swabs. And
I was there that evening, and it was an emotional that he was such an interesting person.
So interesting.
Okay. A teacher, a learned scholar, father of 9,
yes,
8 at that time, and they've become part of your life.
Very much so. I mean, it's culturally unlikely, we say. We speak, I would say I speak at least once a day to his wife and Mordecai, my donor, sometimes twice a day and several times a week.
So
at
let's
least.
continue on with the rest of your life. Tell me about your kids.
Kenneth is married to Karen with 2 beautiful daughters, Sophie and Sarah. They live out in California. Jonathan Siegel lives in California. Jared, who is in real estate investment, just got married in April to Casey, who's getting her doctorate, and our daughter Cassandra, who's in her first year at NYU Law School, first year.
So, as one would say, the journey is continuing, thanks to Mordecai and thanks to Gift of Life and everything else. And one thing everybody knows about Wendy Siegel, she's a fighter. She's always been a fighter, even before she got sick. And you're a fighter, and you're going to be around for many years, and I'm happy.
I call this phase of my life, right now, Michael, love, life, and the pursuit of a perfect toolbox. This is the chapter of my life I'm on, not in a book that I'm necessarily writing, but just the book of my life I'm living. I said, I've had to trade in all my other tools for the tools that have taught me that when your GPS changes and life changes, it's your time to make sure the jobs are best done when you have the best tools. And I carry my toolbox with my mantras, my warrior fight, and I have a new career now. I mean, I coach people. I spend every day trying to help other people get through this journey in some way, shape, or form. I still love all my other not-for-profit loves, but this has been a gift for me. I said it's a journey you would never want to be on, but being on it, somehow I find it as a gift. I really do. And surviving, it's been terrific.
And thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.